Hi, everybody. It's November 3rd, 2019. We have a lot of chaos all over the world, erupting on a daily basis. More and more countries are seeing violent protests. Not that they started as violent, but they seem to be, well, perhaps infiltrated, or many people in nations around the world are getting very angry. Very angry. Well, I'm going to posit that this is organized, engineered from, well, one organization in particular that I'll show you in a second. But it's all moving us more and more closer to that new world order with a one world government. So, Citizens for Global Solutions, embracing a united federation of nations. It is the sense of the Congress that it should be a fundamental objective of the foreign policy of the United Nations, or United States, sorry, to support and strengthen the United Nations and to seek its development into a world federation of nations. I want just to read a few little highlights here. This Earth Union will undertake responsibility for establishing and enforcing global laws. Individual states remain sovereign over national concerns. The democratic world government would handle global problems that no country can solve alone. The world is falling into chaos, and we all know order out of chaos is the elitist globalists' motto. They create the chaos. They get the response from ordinary people, and the response is, please do something to solve the chaos. So they step in and solve it. And they will be solving the chaos, although we're going to see more and more chaos. We're going to see an awful lot of chaos. I believe 2020 is going to be very revealing in terms of what the globalists, the elitists, what their agenda is, because their agendas have become very obvious. And unfortunately, I believe that they will be successful, because while a whole lot of people believe that, oh, the world people are waking up, I don't get that sense. I get a sense that, yes, there are more people kind of beginning to question what the hell is going on. But unfortunately, the timing, we're at the end stage of this New World Order agenda that has been implemented slowly, the boiling frog scenario that has been going on for a long time. Well, as the world gets more and more reshaped and more people suffer the consequences of that reshaping, the elitists making us their slaves, yes, they do begin to question what's going on. They begin to feel the pinch. You know, they lose their freedom, or they can't get their freedom. But to really fully understand what is happening, that takes an awful lot of time. It takes an awful lot of effort. It takes an awful lot of research to fully get that, wow, there really is a select group of very sick individuals who are reshaping the world. That takes a very long time. And we do have an awful lot of people who are operating on a low level of consciousness. And even if they know what's going on, they're quite comfortable and quite capable of not doing a thing about it and just living their self-centered desires. So the individual in the aggregate, but the individuals have to do an awful lot of work to get up to speed in order to stop this agenda. So why am I posting? I'm posting to tell you, get ready for more and more and more violent chaos breaking out, erupting all over the world, for a one world government to step in. Governments around the world have not been able to solve the world. Well, there's a list of problems that the world is seeing that have been engineered by these elitist, globalist, crazy nut jobs who have been exceedingly successful in moving us right to where we are right now. So I think it's going to be quite easy to cause more and more chaos and then have the United Nations step in and say, and government leaders will turn over their power to the United Nations. So this United Federation of Nations, what will it include? Dismantling national governments. One nation serving as world policeman. Absolute sovereignty of individual nation states. What does that mean? Well, it means that there will be rulers of the mega regions. They call them nation states now, but they will be called mega regions around the world. And the sovereignty will simply be the sovereignty of this one world government, and then they'll have the leaders or the rulers of the mega regions enforcing the one world government policies. Private corporations having same rights as representative governments. Well, guess what? We're pretty much there already. So, what are the benefits? Disarm offensive weapons, reduce the arms trade, de-alert nuclear weapons, transform national military forces into national civil guards. Yes, reinvest the peace dividend, enable the redirecting of money currently spent on military to invest in environmental restoration, education, health, and renewable energy. And guess what? The world people, most of them will just cheer that. Yes, we want peace. And we want to no longer fund militaries. We want to invest in the environment, in the infrastructure of our nation state, of our mega regions. We want education. We want health. We want renewable energy. Yes, climate change. Okay. They will applaud one organization. They'll applaud the United Nations because they don't know how evil the United Nations is. They don't know what they're applauding. They don't know what they will be offered as solutions, which will be simply shackles upon their own self. They will be slaves of the elite globalist nut jobs. So, provide checks and balances plus democratic accountability for present global structures such as the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. So right now, We are seeing a tremendous amount of chaos breaking out all over the world. And I'm going to show you just glimpses of that chaos that is going on as we speak. What is this video? This video is a Council on Foreign Relations. It's about the Council on Foreign Relations. It was posted in 2017. I'm not going to play it because I believe I'll get a copyright strike. You need to watch this. You need to watch this Council on Foreign Relations. It's an info commercial. It's a, Richard Haas, who is a neocon working for the New World Order. But all of the people here, it's really Robert Rubin, who was the CEO of Citicorp, I think, Citibank. All of these people members of the CFR, and so many are our mainstream media journalists. And it is, this woman is so unbelievably disgusting. But all they do is lie. All they do is lie. And you do have a number of mainstream media journalists on CNN, and there are others. I want to bring your attention to an article, One World Governance and the Council on Foreign Relations. We shall have world government by conquest or consent. The Council on Foreign Relations PR video. And this is a very good article to read. New World Order propaganda rules and shapes the world. And there's no more powerful propagator of propaganda that rules and shapes United States global hegemony, world events, and major geopolitical developments than the Council on Foreign Relations. On its own website, the Council on Foreign Relations describes itself as an independent, nonpartisan membership organization, think tank, and publisher. 2 weeks ago, they had their 95th anniversary. This was posted June 2018. All right, so they had their celebration. Then they came out with this video. And yeah, they're talking about all of the chaos in the world and how, well, you should trust the Council on Foreign Relations, their policies, how they will be instrumental in bringing about nonpartisan solutions to all of this, which is the one world government. So, interesting, this was 2018. So, the Bilderberg and CFR's chosen member to become America's next presidential puppet, Hillary Clinton. Interesting. So, now we have mainstream media talking about Hillary Clinton. Will she or won't she? You want to talk chaos in our country? Hillary Clinton? The impeachment going on, and Trump, as far as I'm concerned, is playing his role in creating the chaos right here. How easily manipulated are Americans that divide and conquer to fight one another instead of looking at who the real enemy is. No, the real enemy is my neighbor who's a Democrat and I'm a Republican. Oh my God. Well, she made no bones about who controls foreign policy in the United States government. It's the CFR, when she said She was delighted to, when she became Secretary of State, she was delighted to be here at their new headquarters, which was in D.C. Their headquarters is New York City. But she said, I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing. Oh, so our government takes instruction from the Council on Foreign Relations, and they're neocons, and they're working towards bringing in a new world order with one world government, and that's who our government, our leaders, are taking direction from. Hillary Clinton, a puppet. Donald Trump, a puppet. They're all puppets. Obama, Bush. All of this has been going on for decades, but now it's gotten very, very clear. Something's very wrong. That sure is pretty obvious. Something's very wrong. And when you get the feeling that something's very wrong in your own nation, your own state, your own community, if you're an adult, you'll look into it. In 1950, the son of one of the Council on Foreign Relations founders, James Warburg, emphatically decreed to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, we shall have world government whether or not you like it, by conquest or consent. From its very outset, the CFR, as the U.S. elite's most public face, subversively promoting New World Order, has always maintained one explicit purpose: to bring about a one world government. In 1975, powerful CFR insider and former Judge Advocate General of the U.S. Navy, Admiral Chester Ward, wrote in his book entitled Kissinger on the Couch about the ultimate aim of the CFR. The CFR has as a goal submergence of U.S. sovereignty and national independence into an all-powerful, all-world government. This lust to surrender the sovereignty and independence of the United States is pervasive throughout most of the membership. In the entire CFR lexicon, there is no term of revulsion carrying a meaning so deep as America first. Who says that? America first. Donald Trump. Nearly all the top military generals, 2 active members, were my West Point roommates, the author of this article, and admirals, major corporate CEOs, and numerous government leaders in all 3 branches have been circulating through the revolving turnstile in and out of the public sector as prominent CFR members. They represent the shadowy government where secrecy rules from behind the scenes. That said, it's a matter of public record that virtually every Secretary of Defense has been a CFR lifer, meaning a lifer member. So, we now only have 6 oligarchs who own the 6 top mega media corporations, controlling the outflow of over 90% of the world's news. What? Not just U.S.? Yes, of the world's news and information. Through monopolizing a centralized banking system of debt-based theft and global enslavement, while plundering the third world for its precious natural resources, consolidation of power into fewer and fewer hands has eliminated competition in a closed, thoroughly insulated, anything but free, now stagnating global market. So we've got global economic slowdown. We've got global poverty, with more and more of the world's people falling into poverty. We've got global war, global terrorism, global chaos. And it's only going to get worse. And then suddenly, it's going to get so crazy that, yeah, we'll have an organization like the United Nations step up and say, this is what we're going to do to bring peace to the world, to eradicate poverty, to end global terrorism and these global wars. The means by which our planetary rulers plan to attain their long-prized agenda is through such Rockefeller, Rothschild-created entities as the Council on Foreign Relations, indeed CFR members calling themselves the Informal Agenda Group, drafted the UN proposal that FDR signed the next day, establishing the UN as a world governance precursor in 1945. So this PR video, assembling a diverse all-star cast of CFR members, the Council on Foreign Relations just released a self-serving infomercial video touting how significant and valuable its expertise role is in solving the complex challenges and problems facing humanity in the 21st century. In under 3.5 minutes, multiple sound bites delivered in rapid fire by strategically anointed elitists hailing from various walks of life are seen pontificating the need for CFR architects to masterfully craft such sound U.S. foreign policy recommendations that promote peace, prosperity, and New World Order wisdom. Yeah. Okay. The over-the-top feel-good commercial showcasing the elite is obviously designed to make us all feel safer, trusting their benevolent wisdom, a neatly fine-tuned grooming of elitism at its public face best, expounding propaganda that reassures us lowly, uninformed, regular folks that the world's in very skilled, capable hands with such intelligent, gifted, well-spoken movers and shakers, when these elitists are in control, at the helm, solving all the world's biggest problems and most pressing issues. The sample of represented powerhouse industries showcased in the video underscores the CFR's sheer far-reaching tentacles of elitist dominance and power. The PR video attempts to pass the CFR off as a benign humanitarian group out to both enlighten and save the world. Its featured CFR cheerleaders claim the organization is unbiased, having no political ideology nor any agenda, which again is fiction, as ever since 1921, its actions speak louder than their favorably biased words. The fact is the Council on Foreign Relations has been controlling U.S. foreign policy for almost a century, and chief among its most obvious agendas has been building and maintaining U.S. empire's global unipower or polar hegemony and military strength at all costs. So don't be surprised. United Nations steps in. We're the one world government, and we appoint the United States military as the world's police, demilitarizing other states, nation states. The most glaring treasonous agenda of all, the Council on Foreign Relations has consistently maintained for near an entire century is the destruction of the United States as an independent sovereign nation. The CFR has always envisioned and been working persistently towards a totalitarian one-world government. CFR ad features powerful liars, once again promising one thing and then betraying their promise by doing another. They clearly state that the CFR has no agenda. Yet the historical facts prove that the Council on Foreign Relations has always maintained the New World Order agenda of a one-world government. Americans are just now starting to realize that the glorious U.S. history taught in our whitewashed school books has brainwashed multiple generations into wrongly believing America's always been God's gift and savior to humanity and the rest of the world. Tell that to the darker-skinned peoples around the globe who've been bombed, raped, murdered, starting on U.S. soil with the Native Americans and kidnapped African slaves and their descendants. And it's been ongoing ever since. The public is just now finally coming to terms with recognizing that the system's been rigged against them for a long time. With Hillary's criminal exposure, presidential elections are blatantly rigged. The two-tiered justice system is horrendously in our face rigged. The stock market's rigged. Gold prices are rigged. Everything is rigged. And Americans still believe that they live in a country with a constitution and they're free. Well, the fact is that in this highly polarized, explosive culture of growing violence, fear, hate, distrust, has favored Donald Trump, one angry, politically incorrect, racist billionaire showman, promising delusions of grandeur to bring back America's long-lost greatness. Really? You believe that? Everything has gotten worse under Trump. Everything. And you think it's because, well, he's fighting hard, but he's fighting against, the whole machine. No, he's part of the machine, creating an awful lot. But it's a manipulation that, well, a lot of it is rather sophisticated. So if you don't understand psychopathy and narcissism, if you're ignorant and can't see what these people are doing to get you to hate the other side, you'll be so easily manipulated. That's why it's really important to do an awful lot of research to build up your knowledge base, to understand the agendas, to understand how these people work, psychopaths, narcissists, the pathological ones. They don't stop. They get the job done. They just keep lying. They don't care who they hurt. They do not care about you. Donald Trump does not care about you. This is upsetting the elite's apple cart, threatening to throw a monkey wrench into the status quo of the rigged power structure? No. I maintain this is absolutely part of the elite's apple cart. They're very happy with all of the chaos. And they throw a Hillary Clinton back into the game. Oh my God. Talk about a two-tiered justice system. This woman has committed so many obvious crimes. Doesn't matter. And Donald Trump, he was the guy campaigning. We're going to investigate the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation. Hillary, you should be in jail, right? What does he do? He gets elected. His first interview, he says, well, no, we're not, look, Hillary, the Clintons are good people, and Hillary is a good woman. And really? Right from the outset, he told you he's a liar. And so many people believe liars. I don't get it. I will never get it. So, this unpredictable, recklessly volatile dynamic currently gripping America as the divided populace, ever more agitated, unstable, and angry over facing the cold, hard reality that the nation so many of us grew up loving has been thoroughly fleeced and destroyed by the treasonous Clinton, Bush, Obama, international crime cabal that governs the world, employing the same bloody, lawless thuggery as organized crime. It is organized crime that runs our country. They are criminals. And when you see what's happening on a daily basis in our country, how anybody could think that we're still the United States of... Trump doesn't even have a country to save. He stepped into the White House when the country was already gone. So what's he going to save? My God, CFR infomercial claims global warming, global scarcity, global overpopulation, global terrorism, global refugee crisis, global war, global economic collapse, which have all been contrived, manipulated, and engineered by the ruling elite. All of these global crises are going to get worse and worse. And that violence will erupt in so many of your own communities. So I really do hope that everybody is very prepared for what is to come. And pay attention to the economy, because, yeah, that delusion of grandeur guy, Donald Trump, still lying about the economy. Oh my God, every single day. Every single day. And I'll be posting a video on it, hopefully today. The economy is going down fast. You may not be suffering the consequences of that right now. It's going down. And more people are being pushed off the edge. What are people to do when they can't find jobs, they have no money, they have to pay their bills, they've got to keep that home, the shelter, they have to put food on the table for their children? Yes, we are going to see an awful lot of Americans going against Americans. And those who have lost, they may be left with no other recourse but to go against those who have. And we're so conditioned to never look for the real enemy. We're conditioned to hate one another. And that hatred is only going to escalate, because that hatred needs to be worked out in each individual. And when you have a country filled with people who are little children who have never grown up, they have no clue who they are. Now, so many people are stressed without even realizing it because of the frequencies. The cell phones and the cell towers and the Wi-Fi and the smart meters. Their body is already stressed. But then they start to suffer the consequences of this engineered breakdown of our country, the engineered destruction of the economy, of all institutions. That stress will only increase, and people regress even further. So we already have a population that is, well, the majority are quite comfortable living immoral lives. So when you realize that they already don't have a really strong moral core, and they can do immoral things, when push comes to shove, and they got to save their own skin, they've got to save their own children, what will they do? I don't think most people will have much restraint at all. And yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I think an awful lot of people are going to go after the haves. Now, I'm not talking about the 1% because they will be thoroughly guarded and protected. I'm talking about the middle class, the few that are left, those that have a little bit more, the upper middle class. It's actually a very, very scary time if you know what's going on. So I'm just going to end this here. This is part 1. Part 2 will pick up with, well, the revolutions around the world, the protests around the world, turning violent. Many have started as nonviolent. Have they been infiltrated to create the violence? Perhaps, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you see now. What matters is the chaos that's unfolding, because it is brought about deliberately, and it is all over the world now. So a lot of people think it's 2030 that the United Nations is going to step in as the world government. I think it's going to be sooner. I think it's going to be sooner. But what we will be seeing is nothing that we have ever seen before. Certainly not, those Americans who, well, their own government and military brought war to the world, but they lived their quiet, peaceful lives. It's going to be turned upside down. Part 2 will be coming up after I post this video.